I would want people to ask themselves the question of, when you feel that you have to do something to better yourself, are you bettering it for yourself, or are you bettering yourself for society? Because there's a difference. People could be like the best person that they know how to be, but they still are being the best person that they know how to be, that is still gonna people please the society or their parents or their family or something like that. Like I've noticed like I'm genuinely happy because I make me happy. But some people are genuinely happy because they think that what they are doing is what society expects out of them.
Mm-hmm. Let's just say if you did tell someone, hey, I used to strip, they just assumed you fucked like 1,000 people.
Oh my God.
You know, that's the presumption that they make based on the context of ignorance and lack of knowledge within themselves.
Sister, preach.
You know?
Preach. Go ahead, keep going. Because, oh my God. Every time I tell people, like, oh, I'm a stripper, and they're like, oh, so how many, like, they're always asking how many guys I've had sex with, or like, did you have sex after the parties and stuff?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fit and Frugal podcast. I'm your host, Tawni Wynn. You can find me on IG at Tawnisaurus. We had a little bit of a riot right before this, so I'm trying to control my face right now. Before Chase over there yells at us, like, keep your shit together. I have here with my girl, Lana. She's going to introduce herself.
Guys. I am Lana. I am the host of Laughing with Lana podcast, and I am a stand-up comedian, a business owner, and an engineer at Sticky Paw Studios.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Got that bitch down.
I got titles, bitch.
Yeah. What every female strives to have is a little status
the main
in this
girl
world.
title.
Why do you think it's so important for females, kind of like us, to feel that we're worthy of something, right? Like when people ask you, like, hey, what do you do? And it's...
I think that's anybody, though, because I don't think it's just females. I feel like everybody in general needs a something to feel that they're worth something, which is usually a fucking title, because at the end of the day, no matter what field you're in, you can you can always be the best in your field. Like, did you know that there's like such a thing as, you know, those little those finger skateboards? I forgot what they're called. Chase, do you know what they're called?
Tech decks.
Tech decks, exactly. There is like a whole world of tech decks, like competitions, and they build they build like these little cities of tech decks, and they do tricks with their fingers and shit. And I'm like, it's crazy how you could really be like a tech deck Nevada state champion kind of deal. And I'm like no matter what, you could really be like the best of the best no matter what you do. But I feel like that title, like anybody having a title that says like champion or like me, producer, was like a huge stepping stone in my life, because it was like, oh my God, I'm a producer, engineer, and an editor, and that's something that I'd always wanted to do. But like in other words, someone else would be like, oh my God, you're a producer, that's nothing. I'm a dentist, and that's something. It depends on people. It was like, I feel like, I don't know, titles are they're so important to people, but and I don't see why, but I see it.
Well, two things, because if I was a tech deck person, I'd put that on my resume as like finger specialist. Girl,
I can use my fingers right, bitch.
That's probably why I don't have a job. But no, I do agree with that, because there was a period where I moved to Vegas and I had to like review my resume, and I just came out of college. And I was looking through my resume. It was like 2 pages. It was all right, you know. Like for me, it was very status driven. And I looked at some of these things. I'm like, what the fuck do these even mean at the time that I put it on my resume?
What do you mean?
Like, I'll have the career guidance or whatever like help me with these words, right? They're like those corporate title people to where they make anything sound really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I looked at my resume. I'm like, what? Like, how did they turn like a volunteer position into this like grand scale like something? And it sounds so cool, and that's kind of like a label that society kind of puts on us, because if you're really good at marketing anything, you can sell anything by engineering. Because if I was to tell my parents I'm an engineer without giving them the context, like if I was a sound engineer and I just drop all the words around it and I just tell them, hey, I'm an engineer, they'd be like, oh my God, like, yeah, like that's a great, you know, role as a Asian trophy. I can tell my parents I'm a fucking engineer instead of like when I dropped out of college. They're like, no, we can't tell people that. So like true. Having a role, like when I did marketing in my 20s, my mom didn't take that seriously.
Why?
Because I wasn't a nurse, because I dropped out of like biochem. So I lost my like Asian status. Yeah. Like I wasn't Asian anymore.
Right.
And they find out, they're like, oh, so you're making all right money doing marketing. I'm like, yeah, like here's the money and here's all my side hustles and all the cash jobs. I didn't tell them.
Right.
But I'm like, I can't tell them. I'm like, so they're like, what's a bartender? But if I say like, oh, mixologist. Right. Yeah, like that's incredible. Good job, honey. I'm like, okay, so I get people drunk at 11 o'clock in the morning. But
that's my specialty, Mom.
Yeah. So I think that's somewhere down the line, it's kind of really funny how the fluidity of how we can almost manipulate anything. And especially like we strive so hard for these titles and these status in society.
Which is so funny because I'm like, we strive so hard for these titles, but hear me out. Like in the Asian culture, I was married to an Asian before, and in their culture, it's so funny that you say that. 'Cause I'm like, there's the doctor and there's the nurse, and they really hyper focus on like being a nurse or a cop, like that. Their title is like, oh my God, you're like. You're royalty if you're a nurse.
Like of authority.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the thing that I found so funny is that I'm like, when you're working in the medical field, a nurse is a glorified ass wiper. You literally administer pills and you measure excretion. That's disgusting. Like all you do is like wipe ass and wipe cooter and make sure that people are clean because they can't clean themselves. That shit. But you're glorified for that, and I get it. But I'm like, why would you want to wipe ass for the rest of your fucking life? That shit. But like, and it's not just the Asian culture. This is just anybody. I feel like everybody's always like, thank you for your services, nurse. And I'm like, but okay. A nurse is a glorified ass wiper, in my opinion. But doctors, doctors are like royal, right? The status is, oh my God, he's a doctor. He saves lives and all this bullshit. But I'm like, me working in a hospital, a nurse is a lot smarter than a doctor. A doctor just has the license to get sued, to be fair. I'm like, because if you really think about it, I'm like, the nurse is the one that's evaluating the patient, telling the doctor what it is that the patient needs. And the only thing that the doctor has to come in and do is, oh, okay, sign off. Yeah. All they do is sign off. And guess who goes to court? The doctor, not the nurse. Yeah. I feel like their license is basically, I can get sued and I'll go to court. But you're fucking glorified because you're like some fucking, oh, you save lives. Yeah. But you don't really save the lives. The nurses do.
To be fair, I that's what I dropped out of college of, is I was a CNA. So I was the one that was wiping the asses for the nurses when I was 16. $11 an hour. Oh. It was terrifying.
I did that too. Yeah. I went from CNA to cardiology tech. Yeah. I hated every second of it.
I did the EMT tech route.
Are you serious?
I wanted like that really adrenaline, like, high through life. And I got in the ambulance. I'm like, this is $11 an hour? Like, I'm out.
And it's scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's a really like talk about adrenaline rush. That's a job. Yeah. To be like first on the scene, to see the shit that like, oh no, hell no. All the shit that you see coming into a hospital, as traumatizing as it is, picking that shit up, oh hell no. Nah. That's I salute you, bitch, because I would have never done that. No, hell no.
And recently, on Vegas Issues, they had the video of the man like fighting the cop.
The nude guy?
The nude guy. The guy that was like beating up the cop. And in my head, I'm like, why wasn't I there? That would have been funny. Maybe now it doesn't happen a lot, but that's a kind of coincidence,
Is it wrong? Like if there's a dude and he's combative and he's naked and shit, why can't the cop just like grab his dick? Like why don't they do that?
Hey Chase.
Yeah, what's up?
Rude if you're naked trying to fight a cop and someone grabs your dick, or would you take that as arousal?
Is that
I wouldn't take it as arousal, but like, I mean, if I'm in a fight, there's no rules.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
So
Even
would-
like even if you on
would
the
grab a
clock.
dick?
I mean, I would grab and twist.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He said purple nurple on your dick, bro.
That's so funny.
Think about how like few problems you'd have fighting anybody if you just grab and twist.
Grabbing, I mean, yeah, because I'm like a titty, a dick. That would work even on a booty. Shit, like if you grab my ass cheek and twist it, I'd be mad as fuck. That would hurt.
I'm so scared.
Or even the ear, because you know my mom used to do that as when I was a kid. Oh yeah, grabbing and twisting. Grabbing and twisting is a fight mode.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so
Chase
funny.
just taught me something.
In the green room, we were like, what do we want to talk about? And I think I find energies like yours really resonating because you know how like on the surface we're cracking jokes, we're really inappropriate, especially you telling me like last night you did stand up and all of these things, right? That's really, for me, liberating.
Yeah.
Because we don't abide by like a set of societal rules about what we can and cannot do with the status that we create for ourselves.
Right.
And for me, after all, like now being in my 30s, I'm like, what the fuck do all those status and all these things mean? Like eventually you're going to make money doing something fulfilling that actually brings you joy, makes you actually want to wake up, not kill yourself at the end of your shift every fucking day.
Literally.
You know? And how did you find that path from, you know, your previous story that you were sharing with me is that you were, hold on, let me see if I can make this glamorized. I'm trying to use all the marketing terms I've ever learned. An adult entertainer.
Oh. I used to dance naked, motherfucker. That's what I was a stripper. An adult entertainer.
I'm gonna bring you home to my mom. My mom. My friend is in the adult entertainment like industry.
No, because then they always think I do porn. Everyone always
My mom
thinks
thinks I do porn now because every time she calls me, I joked about it with
don't.
John.
you never recorded yourself fucking.
No.
Never?
Oh no, not that, of course.
Oh,
But now I'm trying to describe to her like what a video podcast is. I'm like, hey, I'm filming and da-da-da, and I try to joke around. Because she's like, what do you do, you know? And what I do as a mobile notary, like I meet strangers in the parking lot, which is a lot similar to what I used to do in my teenage years, except now I'm not selling drugs. I'm signing paperwork and I'm filming with strange men. But now it's a video podcast and not porn. I like to freak her out, keep her on her toes a little bit, you know? She's been humbled a little bit lately since I got my shit together, so I gotta freak her out a little bit.
Hey, that's what, well, especially as an Asian parent. She's you're not doing nursing, but you're still successful. She's probably pissed as fuck, bro.
You're not using your college degree? What the fuck?
She's like, you're not using your Asian degree. You're not using your Asian DNA just to make money, bro.
No, I'm banned from the community, dude.
Oh my god,
But
that's
yeah,
so funny.
no, like how does that, you know, because we obviously have a different sense of humor. That for me lately, I realize it does come from like coping with a lot of trauma, and we take life really lightly now, is because you know when you come from a darker place, like you really don't want to go back to feeling that way or putting anyone around you
in a dark space.
And you carry yourself just lightly. And I love people like that when you actually find out their stories, you're like, holy crap. Right? But it's not fair to everyone that kind of like has to wear that mask of pretending like everything's okay. That's what I've been finding myself talk about on my platform a lot.
Yeah.
It's like we have this entirely different life on social media versus the life that we actually live in real life. And somewhere in between is the authentic life that we truly live day by day and how we are to each other.
True.
You know. So
I don't know.
Back to the stripping thing before my ADHD takes a whole different tangent.
No, to be fair, like when it comes to like me and the whole trauma and like I personally don't think I live a double life. I just don't put everything on social media. But my thing like I don't share everything, but if people ask me, I'm gonna share it. And that's one thing that I've learned over time, like throughout the years. I've learned everything that I have gone through, whether it's negative or positive, everyone else has gone through also. Like maybe not so much like not everybody has been like me. I've been raped, like not everybody has been raped, but someone has gone through that trauma. Someone has gone through trauma where like you've taken away my freedom somehow, some way. Every single person has gone through that.
Yeah.
An employer, a boyfriend, a mom or dad or something. Someone has taken away that person's freedom. And I'm like, whether you got through it or not is up to you. Like it's my trauma has taught me that everything you could just get through. Like you just get through it. I don't see why life has to stop because you're going through like a death in the family or like my brother's an alcoholic or like I went to jail. Like even I went to jail for my family and it was like it didn't stop me from like living life. It never like all that bullshit never stopped me. I don't see why it should. But at the same time, like, am I going to post everything on social media? Absolutely not. It's not even a privacy thing. It's just like the last thing I'm going to do is go up to you and be like, hey, I went to jail. Let's talk about it. And then I have to go and tell you, and I have to tell your boyfriend. And then and if I meet your mom, I'm going to tell your mom. And then if I meet like Chase, and then I tell Chase, and then I have to tell George. And like, why do I have to tell every single person something negative that happened in my life? I don't. But if I want to tell them something negative that happened in my life, guess how I'm going to do it? Through a fucking joke, so make light of it so that it makes it funny if I do want to vent to somebody instead of me just bringing their day down, because that's weird too.
Is that your way of like testing out the waters?
No, it's my way of coping.
Yeah.
I have to talk about it. Like I cannot, like if I don't talk about something, then it's eating me alive.
Yeah.
1,000%. But if I talk about it and I make a little bit of a joke about it and other people don't feel uncomfortable talking about my trauma with me, that's what makes me feel better. And I think that's why I joke so much when it comes to my trauma, because like I'll go, you know, like I sit right next to Chase when we're like in the computer and we're editing and stuff, and then if I have something going on, I'm just like Chase, my fucking pussy's broken today. And then he starts because in my head I'm like, damn it, I hate my life because I can't have kids. Like my pussy doesn't, like I can't have kids. So I'll sit there and I'm thinking about it and I'm just like sad, like beating myself up. But then I like, Chase, goddamn it, my fucking pussy's broken. And then he's laughing and I'm like, if you're laughing, now I feel better to talk about it. Now let's talk about it. And then it's like, okay, that got it out of my system.
Yeah, and I think I resonate with that because I sometimes feel like, I'm like, is this too dark for someone? Because I'm joking about childhood trauma. I'm joking about being kidnapped, sexual assault, like all of these things. And it's just kind of like testing out the frequency of the person as well.
That too.
But some people get really uncomfortable. But again, you can't really judge someone for the depth that they don't have to meet themselves within their trauma. Like everyone goes through stuff.
That was a really nice word to use.
The depth, right? Like they can't face it. They can't. You thought about something else.
Yes, I'm just like, you fucking ignorant bitch. Because it's like usually the most ignorant people that you can't relate with, or like the people that you can't like talk to. Because I'm like, if I go up to you and I'm telling you about like you say, like childhood trauma, like if you talk to me, I'm over here like, bitch, tell me more.
Yeah.
But some people get so uncomfortable and I'm like, how do you get uncomfortable and you didn't even go through it? Like, you didn't even live the situation. You didn't live it. I'm just sharing it with you, and you want to get uncomfortable, you bitch? That's weird. Like,
and now you know whose authentic energy you can share things with, right?
Oh, very true.
It's like we joke around all the time, but I feel like we know more about each other through
our
really
jokes.
Inappropriate, dark humor.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, if you say something to them in a perfectly worded sentence, like a PR sentence, they're gonna be like, oh my God, like, you know, or they'll ask you inappropriate questions. And I'm like, why would you ask me that?
Yeah.
I'm
and like that.
Is there a context of the closeness of our, I don't know, social relationship to where you can ask me about something? I don't know. Like, that's kind of like the teetering that I'm still figuring out with boundaries.
Give an example. What do you mean?
Like let's
like
just
body
say,
count or something stupid like that?
Yeah.
Because I hate when people ask me stupid questions like that.
Yeah, because let's just say if you did tell someone, hey, I used to strip, they just assume you fucked like 1,000 people.
Oh my God.
You know, that's the presumption that they make based on the context of ignorance and lack of knowledge within themselves.
Sister, preach.
You know?
Preach. Go ahead. Keep going. Because, oh my God. Every time I tell people, like, oh, I'm a stripper. And they're like, oh, so how many? Like, they're always asking how many guys I've had sex with, or like, did you have sex after the parties and stuff? And I'm like one time I was on a podcast and I told a guy I was a stripper, and I was like, I'm an ex-stripper. And he goes, well, when you walk up and down the strip and you see the other prostitutes and the other hookers, you're like, did you ever get in a fight with any of the other hookers? Because you know how they're like very like territorial over their space. And I'm like, where in that sentence did I say I was a fucking hooker? I said I was a stripper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're walking up and down the strip. When do strippers walk up and down the strip? When? I'm like, and then I'm looking, he was like, no, but you know what I mean. And I'm like, no, I don't. Clarify.
Yeah.
Clarify. What the fuck do you mean? Because obviously I don't know what the fuck a stripper or a hooker is, because I was living the life, but you are giving me a completely definition of what the fuck a stripper or a hooker is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't a hooker. Well, this is the same. Actually, what's funny is that I've been victim shamed so much when it comes to like me being, because I got while I was stripping.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends, I told him the same thing, where I was like, I got while I was stripping. And he was one of the guys that was like, well, isn't that like what you guys do anyway? And I'm like, I'm a stripper. I strip my clothes off for money. I don't strip my vagina off for money. Like, that's not what I did. And he was like, yeah, but like, that's kind of the scene anyway. Like, strippers fuck. And I'm like, I was like, I like some strippers, I get it. They done given us a wrong name or a bad name, but like, not all strippers had sex for money.
Yeah.
It's a stripper. There's a reason why there's two different names, bro. There's a stripper, there's an escort. I was one of them. I was a sugar baby though.
Yeah.
Same thing. I know. I should
Right now, so we should probably put that into context.
I should put that into context.
Your definition before there's any presumptions out there.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of men that likes to mansplain things that's completely wrong.
Oh God. Oh God.
Not
Let me get the red pill people to attack me now.
Yeah. Let's put a target on your back. Might as well.
Yeah, of course.
Might as
They
well.
just love me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically there's strippers who take their clothes off and dance for money. Then there's a hoe, which is a person who's like, she has a pimp and she literally has sex for money. So she will meet you and it's a business transaction. She gives you her sexual favors and you're done with her. Then there's a sugar baby, which is basically a hoe with returning clientele. That's what I call it. Because I'm like, it was you have a boyfriend. You are paid to be this man's girlfriend. Like, you guys go out to eat, you guys go to dinner, you guys kiss, you guys hold hands, they show you off, you go back home. If you guys fuck, you guys fuck. If you don't, you don't. But you are his girlfriend and you're paid to be his girlfriend. So that's what I did. I was doing a lot of the sugar baby stuff. The hoe, I never like met somebody and then like had sex with them and left and never saw them again. I never done. Well, I mean, I've had one night stands, but they were free. I didn't do it.
That's your choice. Out of
It was just me. Yeah, it was just me living Lana's life.
Your conscious choice. Yep. Okay.
Like,
I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I just need to put that out there. I'm like, I've definitely had one night stands, but I wasn't a hoe. And like, escorting is a stretch, but like sugar baby, I definitely did the sugar baby lifestyle, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fucking fun.
Yeah. How much of that was their emotional involvement to a lot of your clientels, or did you ever?
I liked all of them.
Oh, you actually had feelings for them, like a platonic kind of feeling or romantic feelings?
No, platonic. I would say like it's one of those, like, I could kiss you and still care about you and still not want to marry you. You know, if that makes sense. I could separate that. It sounds so bad.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
This is why I think it's a better conversation to have, because it's more progressive to actually distinguish the boundaries in between, because the language gets so blurred. Because when people find out, like in my past, I was serving bikini like coffee. So it's like a whole big thing in Orange County. You wear a bikini, you serve coffee.
Yeah, I've seen
those.
But
since I quit in my early 20s, became a bartender, which I was still doing some gigs in my bikini, like at dive bars, people think I'm a stripper. right? So if I come home with a bag full of money and they see like a bikini hanging out, they just think I'm stripping.
Yeah.
So it's not far from that totem pole of
sugar baby,
how everything kind of blends. Like the minute you are not wearing clothes and you step into this world where you're pretty much selling your body, your soul, whatever you want to call it, people take really wrong projections of calling you like certain things. And I'm like, you can go to a coffee shop. Now, coffee shops in Orange County, I do have to say that some of them did turn into strip clubs.
Nice.
That's not when I worked there. I just want to clarify when I...
Just know I wasn't present.
Just know I wasn't present. The scene has evolved 15 years later. That's why they're like, oh, like, Tawni used to be a coffee shop girl because I've been like, I see what they do. I'm like, okay, do you time travel? Because do you know that the market wasn't the same when I was 19 versus now that I'm in my 30s? It's not the same place.
Right.
It's like 10 owners later and whatever business model they have, you know? I think it's really important to have that conversation of how women can actually evolve over time, even if we choose certain career path that kind of projects us into, now you're doing your podcast, like you're full of life, you love making people laugh. But the minute they find out about your past and you say they try to victim shame you, but what are you trying to shame if I'm not ashamed of my past? And I think that's the more power to you of having the ability to even say, hey, this is what I did. It's not my identity because I'm not held rigid within that same identity of like, I'm a stripper, like that's all I'm gonna be.
I
but
think
you can evolve.
I mean, I've evolved for sure, which is fucked up because I did stripping. I specifically went into stripping for my podcast, like literally. I got into stripping at first because it was like I just needed money for like rent. So it was like quick money. Like every now and again when I needed some money, I was like, oh, let me just do a party real quick. Then when I decided that I wanted to get into podcasting because I was like, I need to share my story. I was like, I think my story is like I need to get it out there. I was like, I need a mic. I need this. I need a mixer. I need this, a laptop. I needed so many different things that I was like
$5,000 worth.
A lot of $1,000 worth later, bitch. Oh my God. Podcasting is not a cheap hobby. It is not. This shit is not cheap, okay? Holy fuck. It's like getting into photography. That shit is expensive as fuck. So when I realized that I wanted to get into podcasting, I was like, I'm going to start stripping in order to get like my mic and stuff like that. And the more material I got, the more I started learning and everything like that. It's so funny how I got into stripping just for my podcast, and now that I'm in my podcast and I'm telling my stripper story, which is funny, is people just know me as a stripper. I'm always a stripper. Like, people forget I'm a comedian. I was like, I'm funny way before I'm, like, you saw me tell a joke before you saw my titties out, but yet you still call me a stripper before you call me a comedian. That's everybody. That's every single person does that.
Because it's easier too.
It's just not even easier. It's like I don't know if you've heard that saying, like oh, if I cut a guy's hair once, it doesn't make me a barber. If I brush a man's teeth once, it doesn't make me a dentist. But if you suck one dick, you're always a dick sucker. So I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, people always remember. People are always gonna remember that one negative thing that you did. Just like, for example, Usher is one of the most like world-renowned R&B artists. We all know Usher as like, you know, Let It Burn and all this, but like he has every song under the sun. But what is the main thing that we know about Usher? He had herpes at one point.
Really?
Oh shit, bitch. But now you know. And you're always gonna remember. And like everybody always talks about how Usher had herpes, or like how Chris Brown, of all the things that he's done, we always remember him as a woman beater.
Okay. Yeah.
See, it's stuff like that.
Social like label kind of sticks with you forever.
It sticks with you. And like Cardi B, even Cardi B, like she's a fucking famous rapper, she's a fashion mogul now. Like Cardi B has worked herself so high up from her stripper label, but she's always known as an ex-stripper, now rapper. That's fucked up. Like, oh, Cardi B, ex-stripper, now world-renowned rapper. And it's like, she's like, can't she just be a rapper?
Yeah. How do you feel? Like, is it hard for people to shed those kind of identities and like share a new brand through reinvention. Because people are always going to remember the fucked up things you do, but they're never going to want to admit, let's just say a year from now, you like get your own show, you're on stage, you're like, you know, on stage with like Joe Coy or something.
Yeah.
But when people go see you, like, oh, that's an ex-stripper.
She's just an ex-stripper.
You know, and that's, I think for me, that's really fucked up to where people really can't let that go and admit like, haha, like she's a hilarious comedian.
Yeah.
But somehow they have to like put the disclaimer in there. Oh, did you know she used to strip?
Yeah.
Like that's some kind of interesting part of your identity, you know?
And it's funny because I'm like, of all the things, like I've been funny my whole life, but I was stripping for 3 years. Probably like 5 years in total. I was stripping for 5 years. 3 years I was doing it like mad seriously. And it's like I was in the nurse in the medical field for 9 years. No one ever calls me a cardiology tech. No one ever calls me a nurse. Ever. No one ever calls me medical field something. It's always the stripper. Yeah. I am a ex-stripper. And I'm like, I don't mind the title, don't get me wrong. Like I love my stripper life. It was one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had. But it's still one of those things like when you call me a stripper, it makes me sound uneducated, and I'm educated. I'm like, I went to school for psychology and I went to school for medical field, but I'm still just a stripper. And then, you know, I get on my podcast and people want to be like, oh, this stripper has a fucking platform. And I'm like, how about a cardiology tech who has a fucking platform, bitch? What the fuck?
You don't do that anymore.
I don't do it anymore, but it's like I still, you see, that's the thing. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like
so then I'm like, so everybody forgets about the cardiology tech. I don't do it anymore. You don't do it anymore. But I'm like, I don't do stripping anymore. But they're like, well, you're still a stripper.
Yeah.
You still took off your clothes.
I have a lot of respect for that you said you stripped so that you can pay for your own platform to start podcasting.
Here, bitch. I got here.
Yeah, like that's the equivalent to me telling people I wanted to quit bartending, but I had to because I went back to college and college was expensive and I had to pay my way through somehow without stripping, right? But to people, I was still stripping because I was in a bikini.
Yeah,
so
right.
Same shit. I would have just made more money. I was kidding. No, I can't dance for shit. So that's not a skill I'm willing to learn. Let's not make people uncomfortable, okay? I make people enough comfortable, which is just with my clothes on. I'm good.
I don't need to do it naked.
I don't need to get naked for people to be uncomfortable by the time I open my mouth. So. But people only remember that. They're like, oh, so like you do real estate now. You have a podcast now. Like, how's your bartending? I'm like, I haven't done that in 5 years.
See?
That was like 2018. And I picked up a couple gigs a few years ago.
Yeah.
Just, you know, we needed money just to like, I was like, I kind of miss it. Like the people I love, having conversation with people and just that.
Yeah.
It makes like the transaction so much more fun.
Right.
Because if you go to corporate events, sometimes it's really boring.
Girl.
Like, like everyone is so polished and everyone is so resume ready until they get drunk. And that's my favorite part of people. It's because that's the real them. But it's sad that they have to get that drunk to be themselves.
To be themselves.
And that's the kind of world. And that's so sad.
So crazy.
People's like, Tawni, you cuss too much. Tawni, you say too many inappropriate things. I'm like, but I can do it sober because that's what I mean. And I carry the weight of my integrity, of my personality through the character that I show you, sober or not sober. But you haven't to wait until you like get 10 shots of tequila in and like almost dancing on the table for you to be a fun person because you're so suppressed. Like these poor people, they're so suppressed with the amount of pressure they have. And that's what I witnessed as a bartender. Like, girl, like, don't, wait a minute. It's full. You've like, probably seen some shit, you know?
Oh, girl, yeah. It's crazy because, like, as a stripper, I've learned that people with a lot of money fake the funk. In a sense where, you know, they're always so polished when they walk into a room. And this, I'm so the CEO in my suit and all this bullshit. And then they hire me and I see the real, like your boss has hired me and I saw the real of your, like these are like I'm talking, like I was stripping for, what do they call them? Not the CIA. It was the security of Trump when Trump was president.
Oh shit.
CIA. Is it CIA? What is
Homeland
it
Securities? What
Homeland
is it?
Security.
Secret Service.
Secret Service. There you go. Secret Service. So the
We about to get arrested after this episode.
fuck them.
kidding.
I have videos. They can't do shit. I was stripping for the Secret Service. It was for Trump's like main motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
These are people that I'm like, bro, you dress up like a female. Like you supposed to be securing our president, motherfucker. You dress up in lady thongs.
Shut the fuck up.
Bruh, I'm telling the shit that I have seen because I was a stripper. I'm like, just because you got money don't mean you're normal. And more than likely, because they have money means that they're willing to pay for the freaky weird shit that they're into. And everybody's into weird freaky shit. Like every single person. I can't sit here and say, I don't know, I'm into midgets. I like midgets.
I didn't even have to ask you.
Oh my God.
I think I asked you with my eyes.
I think you did, because I'm like trying to find an example. I'm like, everybody into something weird, and I'm like, what am I into? I like pegging dudes. I like transgenders, and I like midgets. I like watching them fuck. It's weird, but it's interesting. I would pay to see. If I had money, I would pay 2 midgets.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, rich people be doing stupid shit with their money.
Yeah.
If I was rich enough, I would pay like 4 or 5 midgets to have like an orgy and then just watch. But people would pay for that.
Yeah.
I would have the time of my fucking life.
I think the weirdest I've gone is actually more normal because you said like all the CEOs and all these people that are so kept together. For me, I see them, at doing the keynotes, doing all these things, doing the grand opening for their companies worth like millions and billions and whatever dollars, right? At night, they're like, hey, we need like this amount of coke. We need like all of these things, all the strippers and all of these things that we hire for them. And we throw the after parties.
Yeah.
And you see what happens in a penthouse is like we have to sign NDAs for.
Literally.
But for me to bartend those parties and I see the way people let loose, I'm like, damn, like we're all fucking degenerates because I came from the teens and 20s under mountains of like substance abuse and alcoholism or whatever. And I see the way people live and how they, holy shit. Like
It's
that
beautiful.
blew my mind too.
It's a beautiful life.
Yeah, but they can afford way more drugs than we can.
They can afford way more drugs for
more
sure.
strippers, more midgets than we could afford.
I love midgets, bro. Are we even allowed to call them midgets anymore? No, okay.
What's the PC
Can we
term?
fucking talk about it, bro? Wait, I just need a vent, girl to girl.
Yeah.
Let's fucking. Can we talk about the fact that like, oh my God, I don't want to get your show canceled, but the fact that we can't say retard no more. Bleep this out. We can't say retard no more.
Yeah.
Now we gotta say special needs, and I feel like if we give it 10 years, we can't even say special needs no more because then that's gonna be considered retard too.
Everyone's gonna be in the gray zone.
With the gray zone, but you can't even call people gay now. I feel like gay is an offensive term, and I'm like, bro, you gay. If you take it in the ass, you gay. You're gay. Yeah. But then it's like, no, that's an offensive word.
Everything's a straight woman.
Cis? I am not a cis, bro. I'm a fucking girl, and it's like that. It's fucked up that that's offending me.
Yeah.
Like I'm offended to be called a straight woman now. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, everything is so fucking offensive. I can't call a midget a midget. That's what you are. You got to call them small people or little people. That whole, like, evolution of, like, what the fuck we are offended.
And, I saw someone sent me a TikTok of, I don't want to say it's like probably a young person. I don't want to get canceled.
Well, I agree.
That was, like, getting offended because of the whole vegan and the meat emojis.
Meat
emojis. They're like, Apple and Android needs to take off the meat emojis because it's offensive to vegans like me. Emojis. And they're like, how do you feel about this? And, I had a moment of being impartial. I was just like, let me think on it. Right? And it was a video of this person who's like, guys, like, you have to stop. And I get the emotional drive behind it.
I don't.
But there's a free will, and then there's a point of just absurdity right there.
Yes!
That I was right in between. I'm trying to really understand the logical processing behind it while I'm absorbing and observing the emotion through this person of feeling how much pain they're projecting outward.
Bro,
for emojis. I'm like, what are we going to stop selling meat? It's your choice, you know?
I feel like I made a whole fucking segment or clip off of this. I feel like if you are that sensitive in the world, that should be a mental issue. Like being sensitive should be a fucking mental issue, because like for you to sit there and completely process something that someone else said, process it in your brain to the point where you get offended because you took it so personal that this person said something out loud. And you took it so personal that now you're like probably online, you're venting to someone or whatever the fucking case may be. Now you're probably even protesting, because a lot of people protest now because they're sensitive, because their bitch ass got offended. People are protesting nowadays. Then I'm like, how is you being sensitive not a mental issue?
Yeah, like I'm hypersensitive on an emotional level, but that makes me just more aware. But it doesn't make people wrong, or it doesn't make me take you personally. I used to be that way when I was more into like my ego, the performance ego, of just keeping the polished, that version of me, because being in hospitality is kind of different, because you're pretty much a fucking ass kisser. That's what I am. Like when you're hosting events, when you're doing all these things, when I'm in my dress, I have my clipboard, I have my like Karen smile on, and it freaks me out. It freaks me out because I'm walking around, I look like a fucking, I just got Botox. And I'm like, hi, how's it going today? Hi, are you okay? Is it fine? Is the water to your liking? You know,
like,
and
you don't give a fuck.
And I'm just like, wow, like who did I become? Like what kind of money turned me into a person that values everything else? Like I love the fields, I love keeping people happy, you know, but at the root of that, when I found that out, I'm like, man, I'm just that's just unresolved childhood trauma that transgressed me into this field of people pleasing, but for money. You know, did I abandon my needs that much to where I made it a career for a couple years?
I'm dead as
you know. Like, and I sat there and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so unhappy. But it's because we were shaped right into this role, this identity of perfectionistic tendencies, of overachieving, of doing all these things that are socially acceptable. But you realize you sit at home and you're just by yourself and you're like, wow, like I'm unhappy. Like what have happened to my life that I'm so unfulfilled, to where these are the coping mechanisms that I choose, which is drugs, alcohol, all of these other things, you know? And I think that's like a really hard identity to even realize. And,
True.
You know.
Because I think like, you know how, like I have a coping mechanism to joke about my trauma for sure. But I genuinely don't see the problem with coping with drugs. Because I know like a lot of people have told me, like, you know, people tend to like cope with alcohol and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, if I'm having a hard day, I'll probably do like a little shroom trip, and like I'll shroom a little bit, but it makes me feel so much better. And not in a bad way, but it's like I'll take some shrooms. It helps me process and think clearly. And then to when I'm sober up, I'm like, all right, when I was shrooming, I was thinking this, that, and the third. This is what I needed. Because, you know, I know you've done shrooms. You've done shrooms before.
Yeah.
So when you do shrooms, it actually does put you in this like headspace of like, what am I doing wrong? And I call it a shroom check, like a shroom check. So I'm like, all right, what am I doing wrong? What do I love in life? What can I appreciate more? What am I grateful for? What can I do better? What can I change? And stuff like that. Shrooms always has done that for me.
Yeah.
So when people tell me like, you should be able to do this on your own without the shrooms, and I'm like, well, the simple fact that I can't. Like, I can't process things sober, obviously. I'm angry, very unhappy, a little bit of sad when I'm sober. But when I do a shroom check, it kind of like balances me out. And then I actually do get happy.
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Or like, why is this such a...
No, because shroom and now MDMA, like part of MDMA and ketamine is now being used in a clinical setting for complex trauma, right? So CPTSD. CPTSD is actually really different than how I was abusing, let's just say ketamine, shroom, like a bunch of other drugs back then, but they were harder drugs. Back in the rave days, it was MDMA, a lot of mollies, a lot of, you know,
love it.
It's like cocaine, and it's just like you're buried under like mountains of ketamine. And We were just, I think, misusing it before.
Oh, okay.
Now
right.
that in microdoses now,
yeah,
it becomes therapeutic because it keeps your body still, but it opens up your mind, which is exactly what you're saying, because you can reach a space of not abusing the drugs, not to take like an 8-hour trip, but you can do it for like 2 hours just to kind of like lighten your mind up a little bit and actually go inward and reflect rather than taking a full trip to where you like leave your body and go into outer space and like go into a spaceship and not come back.
But those two,
you know,
those are fun too, bitch.
I think I was doing that before I was aware of my capacity, right? Because it was a choice to abuse versus now to enjoy.
Very true. Very, very true. Because I've noticed that like I don't like when people make it seem like I'm a drug addict. Because I'm like, if you want to call me an addict, that's fine. Then I'm an addict. But when I do the shroom trips, like I don't even do shrooms as much as people think I do. Like I feel like people think I do shrooms probably like once maybe even more than once a week, probably. But I do it like once every like 3 weeks, once a month maybe. But when I do them, it's more than likely like oh my God, I feel like my world is crushing, like crumbling down. Like I really feel like my world is like just like it's come crashing down on my shoulders. I do a shroom trip. And all of a sudden, I'm like, there's that one blanket that I had when I was like 5 years old. And I'm like thinking of that one fucking blanket and how comfortable I felt with that stupid ass blanket. And then I'm like, how did that blanket smell? Why did it make me feel comfortable? And then I'm like, I'm thinking of the dumbest shit in my childhood of this like one fucking weird ass blanket, but it used to keep me comfortable. And then I'm thinking like, damn. My mom bought me that blanket. Where did she give me that blanket? At the swap meet. Damn, that swap meet was fun. Like, and I started thinking of like, I had a good childhood. My parents are still alive. I still have the ability to talk to my parents, and my mom and my dad are still together. Like, I started thinking of little shit like that when my world does come crashing down, I start thinking like my world's crashing down, but it's all fixable. Are my parents still here? Yeah. Do I have that blanket? No. I'm just like,
you're like, oh, and I'm sad again.
That blanket. No, but I started thinking of like, who got me that blanket? Why did I love it? Yeah. Why was I so happy when I was little? And I started thinking of like the dumb shit like that, you know, people are always telling me like, oh my God, you're high off of drugs. You're high off of drugs. Like you're just a drug addict. You're just a drug addict. And I'm like, maybe so, but like, even if you could call me a drug addict all you want, but I'm genuinely like happy on the inside.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, you know, some people are like alcoholics or some people are sober or addicted to going to the gym and shit. And I'm like, but like, are you mentally okay? Like you talk a lot of shit about me doing drugs.
Yeah.
Because they're a drug. Because I think like it's like not legal yet. People call it a drug. And I'm like, nah, bitch, that shit that's Robitussin.
No, I could legally call myself an addict when I was an addict because I was drinking every day. I was doing some form of drug as an abuse, as a coping mechanism. Oh. That's a choice of being an addict, right? Because you can't.
Is that weed for me?
Is that, I don't know. I quit weed. Like I've quit most things. I did shrooms when we went camping a couple weeks ago, but it's in smaller doses and it's just to feel connected to nature.
Yeah, you're not an addict.
I'm not an addict. I'm not. Like, let's just say if I have hard moments, and that's when I realized I was an alcoholic last year, because anytime I'm triggered by something, I just need a drink. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
I'm like, oh my God, maybe I am an alcoholic, because I wake up, something happens in between my 9 a.m. and my 10 a.m.
Oh,
and by 11, I'm like, I'm going to go drink.
You're like, damn it, there's no toothpaste. Fuck, I need a drink.
My toilet paper ran out. I'm having a meltdown at Costco.
Damn it, the toilet paper's on the wrong side. God damn it. I'd be getting mad at that.
Yeah, but it shows you how much or how little like patience you have on yourself too, because we are so wired to be, I don't know, like living these perfect lives, right? And for you to even have the awareness that you're choosing to do something to alleviate your pain.
Very true.
And when you say like, are people even mentally stable? That's why I joke. Like one of my favorite jokes that I joke about a lot for my coping mechanism is being mentally unstable. Because if I can sit here and tell you like, I don't know if I'm mentally unstable today, it kind of shares that I have some sort of issues. You know, whether that's like social anxiety, my depression's kicking in or whatever. But now I'm able to tell people. because they're like, hey, you want to hang out? I was like, oh, no, I feel like being under my rock today. That's just my way of telling you I'm depressed today. I don't want to leave my house.
Right.
And that's how my friends check in on me. They're like, when did you leave the house? I'm like, 5 days ago. It's probably a good time for me to leave the house and talk to some people. And that's how we share. And I feel like that's true intimacy. Because I'll text my friends. I'm like, hey, I need to get out of the house. Like, I'm getting weird.
I'm getting weird. What the fuck?
And that's how that is too. I'm like, hey, I need to leave the house. It's getting weird in here. We're getting weird. Like sometimes you introvert so hard that you realize like little human interactions probably could be good for us, you know?
There are times where I'm in my house and I have to like think, and I'm like, did I leave my house today? Like, did I even smell fresh air today? Because sometimes I will be locked up in my room. I'll go to the kitchen. I'll go to the living room, back to my room, and then I'm like,
and it's like 8 hours later.
Yeah,
it's getting
like
dark.
A whole day later, I was like, damn, I didn't even go for a walk. I didn't even check on my truck. Like, fuck. Introverting is a real problem, but I don't like being out. I don't.
That's more normalized now that we're more open to talk about mental health platforms. And for us, it's through jokes.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can.
You know what's
And I understand
funny?
that, you know, but
I've seen like this is not to shit on anybody, but it's just like a few podcasts that I've seen come in here who there's mental health podcasts and people that are like trying to promote mental health. Not you, because you just started, but trying to promote mental health. And these are the same people that like when they come onto the podcast are like, oh my God, how do I look? What are people gonna think? What do I say? And it's like always about like what other people think. And I'm like, how are you promoting mental health? And you care so much. Like you genuinely don't, because you just do you.
Chase is yelling at us and we're still laughing.
Tawni is Tawni, bro. Like Tawni is 100% Tawni 1,000% of the time. Like this, what you are on camera is what you are off camera. Like that's like there's no difference. But some people like they care about. Like, I mean, we're girls. We're always going to care about, like, how our hair looks. Oh, do we look okay? Yada, yada. Like, I even had to change my fucking vest, okay?
Yeah, like, I was trying to get a floss.
Yeah, like, there's that.
It's normal
and then
human.
There's normal human.
Yeah.
But then there's, like, people who will sit here and genuinely, like constantly look at themselves on the screen. And I'm, like, constantly, oh, my God, how does my hair look? I need to get the lighting right. I need to do this. And I'm, like, how is your mental health? Be fucking for real.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, like, I'm not going to say it to them, obviously, but I'm like, how is your mental health if you are that insecure in even how you look? Because it's just, if you're promoting mental health and, like, you know, people, like, seeking therapy or, like, you know, taking the right steps in the direction of, like getting your mind to where you're mentally stable.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you're mentally stable, you stop giving a fuck. It's just that, to me, when you're mentally stable, you stop giving a shit about what other people think.
Yeah.
That's when you're mentally fucking stable. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Or are you happy that your mom's happy? You know, like there's a difference between being mentally stable and being a people pleaser, and you think you're mentally stable because society tells you mentally stable means this. Like, okay, you know what's funny? Okay, this is a perfect example. People will consider me crazy and mentally unstable because I talk to myself, I sing to myself, I dance by myself. Like, if I could be here at the studio by myself, and if you run the cameras back, I'm talking to myself.
Me too.
You see? And other people would be like, this bitch is crazy. Or, like, I'll be in the car and I'm dancing, singing. They're like,
you're externally processing. That's an actual communication strategy.
Yeah.
There's external processors. There's internal processors.
There's processors.
So unless you're, like, doing some weird twitch, like, okay, I was walking my dog and there was a fly, right? Okay, you can see where this story is going. And I was literally on the phone. I had my headphones on. And I was, like, going like this because there was a fly. And I was walking at the park by my house. And I swear to God, there was 8 people total that, like, walked by me. And they, like, took, like, 18 steps into the grass because I was fighting a fly and I was talking about it. I was on the phone, but they didn't see me because my phone's in my pocket and like I just had one fucking earbud on. And then I didn't really have that social image like together. I was in my sweats. Like no one looks like this while walking their dog. Like I look like a raccoon lady, like going to, you know, like I'm in my sweats, big sweater. My hair is like in a ponytail. I look pretty crazy, like normal crazy, right? And for you, I know you're laughing, but when you're saying there's people that are still caring with what society expects of them, because I think the validation that they give themselves isn't coming from an internal place. It's not intrinsic.
Yeah.
Because they still carry like the weight of everyone's opinion, like on such a high pedestal that they don't feel validated for anything that they do or who they are until the world outside of them tells you like, hey, you're doing a great job. But if you're just honestly a good person, if you're a kind human being, whether someone's looking at you or whether you're posting that you're doing something kind on Instagram or not, like you should still be a good person.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so hard for me to even hear that people, I get the whole image and persona, like how we mentioned in the beginning, the digital persona, how we look online and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of that doesn't really register into authenticity, because I know so many women that are living such inauthentic lives that it kind of hurts me, but I had to kind of cut them off because I'm like, I can't have you around me because your energy is bleeding into the way I live my life because you're judging me based on your perception of yourself. And I can't have that. I can't have that for my growth.
Right.
Like I can't have your judgment based on where you feel your lack is to bleed into my own self-worth and to bleed into my own self-acceptance.
Right.
And that, like, when you said, like, are you okay? Like, sometimes I want to ask people.
Like, are you?
Because they're crumbling. They're so anxious. They're so unhappy. But they have perfect Facebooks. They're posting how great their relationship is. And they know 100% they're cheating on their husbands, vice versa. You know?
Oh, my God.
You know, and I know them online and offline. I'm like, these are, like, two different people.
It's completely two different people. That's embarrassing. It's sad to say because I'm like sometimes people could be, like, the best person that they know how to be, but they still are being the best person that they know how to be that is still gonna people please the society or their parents or their family or something like that. Like I've noticed like I'm genuinely happy because I make me happy. But some people are genuinely happy because they think that what they are doing is what society expects out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're 25 and you're married with kids and you have a career, that's like, oh my God, you must be so happy. Mm-hmm. You have to be happy because society says if you're 25 and you meet a rich man and you have kids and you have a career, you're living the perfect life. When in reality, I had all of that. Mm-hmm. I was 25, married, had a house, had a car, had the perfect husband, and I was fucking miserable. But on paper, I should have been happy.
Yeah.
On social media, I was happy. On paper, I'm happy. But in my life, I was like, I'm so unhappy. Mm-hmm. Me personally. Soon as I get out and I'm like my life to like the regular Joe, my life is a mess. Like I'm a stripper and you know, you've lived a lot of life. You have a lot of trauma and all this bullshit. I'm like, I have a lot of trauma, but I'm so happy on the inside. Mm-hmm. Why? Because a lot of the trauma I brought upon myself, but I still brought it upon myself making the decisions that I wanted to make. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't like...
But it's your responsibility to heal the trauma, too, and not bring that hurt to hurt other people.
No, fuck all that. No, my trauma makes other people laugh. Yeah. But it's like, the thing is, I just don't want to repeat that cycle of, like... what other people thought when other people thought I was happy, I was actually miserable. Mm-hmm. But I just looked so perfect. I had a husband. I had a fucking brand new house built from the ground up with whatever I want. I got to choose the cabinets and the flooring. Oh my God. I was like, you must be living the perfect life. And I had a husband who was a cop. He was like, I was living the perfect life. I was miserable. Yeah. Miserable. But like, even like, you know, persona, like you go to the family get-togethers and you're just like, yes, I'm married and I have I have kids and I have the perfect house and I have a career, and everyone's like, oh my God, you must be so happy. And I'm like, I hated wiping people's asses in the hospital. I hated that.
Yeah.
But everyone was like, but you're getting paid $25 an hour. I'm like, guess what? Stripping pays $1,500 an hour. Like, bro.
Yeah.
I take my clothes off and I make a lot more money than these educated doctors do in an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, I made a lot of fucking money, and I was happy because I was partying and doing drugs. Like I was fucking happy as shit. And that was the thing is, I would love love more than anything to just promote for people to just like do them, like live your fucking life and live it the way you want to live it, not how society says you have to live it, or not how your parents tell you how to live it. You gotta live it the way you want to live. I'm a stripper, and people call me an escort all the time. I agree with every fucking negative comment everyone ever says about me. Positive too. Like if you think I'm great, cool. If you don't, okay.
It's none of your business actually what people think about you.
I'm not gonna change your mind.
Yeah.
It's none of my responsibility to change your mind of your opinion of me.
Yeah. That's the inner piece that I feel like we've unlocked, that people hate us so much because they can throw shade all day, and I'm just like, if you want to think 1 + 1 is 5, I agree with you. Like I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna let you think what you want. I'm not here to serve my mental peace and like give you a piece of that. Because I just don't have that tolerance anymore. I'm
like 1 + 1 = 5. You know what? It equals 5 squared, bro. It's 5 times 10. I'm like, it sure is 5. It sure is 5. We're gonna force it to be 5. I don't give a fuck. 1 + 1 is gonna equal motherfucking 5. And that's how I am. Like when people call me a hoe, I'm a hoe. You wanna call me stupid? I am still. I'm uneducated. I'm uneducated.
I think they're just trying to aggravate that part of you to bring out a part of you that's no longer there, is to fight with them. They want to put you in a place to where you become someone that you used to be, that you're no longer are, because that doesn't serve you.
No.
You know?
Yeah. It doesn't work. And it's funny because when you agree with people who are trying to fuck up your day, they either end up being your best friend because they can't get to you and they're just like, all right, my bad. Like now they just want to kiss your ass, or it pisses them off so bad that I'm like, why are you still hating on me? Yeah. Like if you ask a hater why you're hating on them, they're gonna tell you that they're not hating on them, and then or hating on you, and then you're like, well then what was the point? If you ask a hater like, what was the point? Like why are you trying to ruin my day? For what reason? Oh well, this, that, and the third. Okay, well like what was the point though? Like Like, why are you trying to bully me? And then, because when you tell people, why are you bullying me? The first thing they tell you is that they're not.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what? All the face that makes me so mad is I'm like, why are you hating on me so hard? I'm not hating on you. It's just that you're a fucking hoe. I'm like, I'm not, but
you just be like, why would you say that?
Why would you say that?
Yeah.
And you question it and be like, okay, look, let's go down the line.
That's part of the inappropriate questions that I talked about in the beginning, that you're like, give me some context. It's stuff like that. When people say stuff like that, and it's funny because I feel like the, similar energy that we have now that we share this platform, right? Yeah. I understand completely how not to wear that mask anymore, is because when you brought up haters, someone's like, oh, like, aren't you afraid of like haters and all that stuff? I'm like, I'd rather be hated for who I actually am than be loved for who the fuck I'm not. And like you said, in your 20s, I was fucking miserable. Yeah. Like, oh, you're in this relationship, you have a college degree, like you have a six-figure. I'm like, all of that means fucking nothing to me. Like, I wanted to die. Yeah. Like, I was so fucking miserable that like people don't understand being successful and having status on paper means fucking nothing if you wake up and you're so unhappy with your life. Like, longevity of relationship, longevity of jobs, anything doesn't really matter. It's how healthy you are. Yeah. Like, are you actually carrying joy into the process of like living a life that you wake up happy to every single day, Very true. Yeah. So I think I caught that out of all the loops that we kind of went around. I'm like, like marinating in that. But I think that is something that people should truly seek for, is fulfillment, even though, like now people are probably like, oh, their life's falling apart and all this stuff. Like, that's cool. Like, you think what you want to think. Right. Everyone is entitled to their own free will of opinion. Right.
Even if it's hating on me. Yeah. If your opinion of me is different from my opinion of me, I'm not gonna care about your opinion of me if you don't pay my bills. Like,
Yeah.
even if you paid my bills, to be fair, even if you paid my bills, if your opinion of me was like negative, I would still be like, then just don't pay my bills, bro. Like, I'm not gonna change for you. I'm not gonna change for anybody. I don't see the point in it.
Right, Chase?
Right, Chase?
That's right.
Our
Shout
mystical
out
man.
to Chase for letting me borrow this cool ass vest, guys. I feel like
We were
fucking
having a little
rock star.
fashion dilemma before this.
Looks a bit better on you than on me.
Well,
you know.
damn, the model. Duh.
Hey, Chase, do you have any haters?
I mean, yeah, I
I'm one
definitely
of
do.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make you feel like you've made it?
It doesn't necessarily make me feel like I've made it.
I'm waiting for my first hater.
I could be your hater.
Oh, do I have to pay you?
No.
Bitch, I got like $3 in my purse.
I do it for free.
Oh, thank you.
You could tip me $3, man.
I'll pay you with this Tesla half drink tequila.
Oh shit, Steven, she don't have this on here, okay? That's Steven from Millennial Millionaire. That's his tequila bottle.
He's gonna like see it like, what the fuck? That's my
Oh
bro.
no, he's fucking cool as shit.
This is how frugal I am. I have to borrow
You should
prop.
have him on your show.
I have to borrow prop.
Oh my god, I'm gonna
But
hook
no,
that up.
so like, is there any last thing that you really, really, really want to share that we haven't touched on today that you feel like it's a really important message? Not to put you on the spot, but I feel like we also have crawled through the weeds of trauma, past identity, through revelation, through reintervention, and creating like who we are as women, as, you know.
Oh, you know what? I think I would want people to ask themselves the question of, when you feel that you have to do something to better yourself, are you bettering it for yourself or are you bettering yourself for society? Because there's a difference. Are you bettering yourself to make you happy, or you're bettering yourself because you think that's what society wants or needs out of you? And there's a huge difference. And just like I said, just be happy. You yourself need to be happy. Don't please other people, because that shit, you're going to live a fucked up and horrible, miserable fucking life.
Damn, I'm just going to let it end there because that was too good. No one ever shuts me up. What the fuck, Lana?
Whoa! And I did it with no dick in your mouth.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Fit and Frugal podcast. Again, I'm Tawni Wynn. You can find me on IG at Tawnosaurus. You can find my girl at
Lana, Laughing with Lana at Lana Chairez Comedy. Yeah, Lana Chairez Comedy on Insta and TikTok.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.
Bye.